Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. What's that crazy thing over there?
Yeah, I've heard.
Well, when you're far away enough, you can have enough holes, but when you're this close, very few people make a speaker that's got the sound power of what we do. They're fantastic. You should listen to them. I usually ask people, what do you think this is? But we don't have to angle them like everybody else does. What happens if you cannot put a center speaker in any of the traditional positions? We show what's on the stand, or we do this. I'll turn the lights off.
Hi guys, it's Anton and you are on the Blackroom channel. Today we are in California, San Francisco at Grimani Systems, and we're gonna have a tour with the Grimani Systems warehouse, production facilities, and many interesting things. So let's go and do this! First of all, we've met Anthony Grimani and the president of Grimani Systems, Steve Alexander, at the showroom of the local dealer, and that is called AV Integration. And that is a big room that has the full-fledged, full-scale Grimani Systems home cinema, 9.6.6, and it's a big room, 80 square meters, the floor size. And of course it has a lot of speakers and the full-scale calibration by Anthony Grimani himself. And of course the acoustic package with PMI and MSR acoustic.
Look like wood coffers or not. They're fabric that hides speakers, right? So there's a wide channel speakers here. Sides over there, backs over there. And then the top channels are hidden up here at the intersections here and there. Two infrasonic subwoofers under the screen. And then there's side speakers, back speakers, and top speakers. Mm-hmm. There's other speakers in here that we're not going to be listening to that are part of the other products that the shop sells here. Subwoofers are always engaged because the front speakers play down to about, I have to remember, I think in this room they're playing down to 65 or 70 hertz, below which the room starts to have standing waves. The surround speakers are down to 80 or 90.
How many subs?
So there's actually 6 subwoofers in here.
I actually never experienced the full-scale Grimani Systems so far before this, and I was really pleased to have a chance and do that. So these are the big 21-inch subwoofers. These are RixSL speakers, the front LCRs, right on the wall with acoustical damping material, around 40 centimeters behind the screen. There's only one row, but it's all you need actually to really experience and enjoy. And these are the back 18 inchers. Trying to understand what's making noise.
So there's a little fan in the storm.
It's me picking on the system as usual.
Are you hearing some hum, or are you hearing?
No, just the fan.
Yeah, there's a fan in that. You can hear that, right? There are that I know of. There's no other fans in here.
And this is very interesting part. Tony usually don't do that for any demo with any other customer, but you know me, this is where he shows how wide actually are the Grimani System speakers. The dispersion of middle high frequencies, it's so damn good. It's actually around 160 degrees. And what we are doing, we're actually walking through the room and listening to the pink noise.
And then you can go up here, down here, I forgot they had a name for it. The idea being you're using a Category 6 cable. Two pairs are for network. Two pairs are for digital audio. Streamed, not IP.
I see.
And they did that for a long time in their big distributed system. So originally, when we built this room, this was the translator box. We are taking direct digital audio off the surround processor we had at the time, which was a datasat, and then fed it to the speakers.
Dynamics in this room, I've never heard anything like that. and that is me listening to just stereo. That's the thing I also do with my clients when they come to our showroom. And that is the stereo from the home theater you want to listen to. Trust me on that. And then we went to the factory tour.
So these are just set up as just regular workbenches. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Just a place where people can, with a lot of care and attention.
Beautiful background.
Yeah, a lot of care and attention, just build these things just with obsession. Everything is built very, this is not like a traditional loudspeaker assembly line. It's not an assembly line. It's a workshop.
Workshop, yeah. Oh, you also use the damping.
Yeah.
I always do that. When I tweaked some other speakers, I did just that.
Yep, so all of the waveguides come in as a nicely done piece of plastic. It's it's an ABS plastic, and then we damp the back of it, and this is
it becomes even better.
This is the tweeter assembly you'll see in a Rixo cell with a BMS annular driver.
1 inch.
The actual diameter of the annular is a little more than that. Understanding that it's an outside perimeter and the sound goes down the hole in the middle. So it's the exit, the actual size is of the final hole is 1 inch.
Yeah.
The annular thing is more like 2.5 inches. It doesn't really matter. It's just the size of the membrane. Mm-hmm. But you're never actually hearing that 2 inches as a radiating device this big, because it's all compressed down through the throat that goes down here and then back up in here. So anyway, that's what we do. Okay, nothing more to see over here. What's that crazy thing over there?
Wow. FM transmitter, RCA, yo.
So it's a 1952, it's the cabinet of a 1952 radio transmitter. I took the electronics out. This was at the first radio station I worked at. We replaced it by a much more modern Harris brand transmitter that for the same 5,000 watts of antenna power, the cabinet was only this big. I couldn't accept that they were just going to throw this away. They were going to put it in the trash. Yeah. I was like, no way, I'm keeping this. So I disassembled it, brought it down from the room, and now it's a storage area full of, the proper English word for it is crap. I don't know if you ever heard that term. Yeah, many people make good speakers. Okay. Very few people make a speaker that's got the sound power of what we do. The term sound power. Very few. JBL on their top of the line does that in the M2. There's a few other company that do, but they didn't obsess about that as much as we do. Very few people make a speaker that has that sound power and has the sound pressure level capability I played for just 2 seconds. But beyond that, anybody making a speaker could do this. Why not do this? It takes time. And it costs money. There was originally my music room. I still have my guitars and all my stuff. And I said, I'm not playing in a band anymore. We're going to dedicate the space. We can have 10 pairs of speakers playing. We have a whole stack of amplifiers to be able to do that break-in and burn-in and also detect problems. We check it over, of course, on the line, see the woofer and tweeter work. Everything's connected. And then we bring it in here and we pair it up. Usually we're making 2, 4, 8, whatever pairs of speakers. So when we first connect them together, when we first start them, we align them to where they're nulled out. Then we do a sweep, make sure there's no rattles. Then let it run for 2 days, and we check again. Okay. Because if a piece of wood's going to get loose because the glue isn't right, if a driver's going to go bad, it's going to go bad in the first 20 hours usually. So we give it that time. You can't ever be perfectly certain, that would be a lie, but we have a much higher statistical certainty that by the time it's installed and powered up and everything, it's going to be fine. Which is why we get this very, very low return rate from the field, because we've picked it here before it goes out. We also use good drivers. The stuff that the companies we buy from do a good job in their quality control and their consistency, so we have very little internal reject. But these things are pieces of wood that are glued together. There's always a chance that in that labor things don't survive. This is what we call the burn-in room. We're going to go over here, Oh, do you know what a Faruja line doubler is? You ever heard of that?
Faruja line.
Faruja line doubler?
First word is very familiar.
Faruja?
Yes.
This guy, Eve Faruja, in the mid 80s, mid to late 80s, it developed and patented a very good, you know how video, both in PAL and in NTSC from a long time ago, the black and white and the color were composited together. They're modulated, but they're composited in one stream. And any television, any projector has got to separate those. And in that separation, things get really weird. Like the quality of picture is never as good as starting from the components, the red, green, and blue. This guy, E. Faruja, developed a way to do that demodulation better than anybody else. So he launched a bunch of professional broadcast equipment for doing demodulation. So when you're looking at the picture, it looks better. And then he developed a line doubler technology to de-interlace. You know, even today you have 480p and 480i interlaced picture.
Yeah, we've been talking interlacing
Right.
today.
So interlacing is slowly going away, but you go back 30 or 40 years ago, everything was interlaced, and de-interlacing always had side effects. And E. Faruja had the best de-interlacer. And then he invented a line doubler, which created interpolated lines. That was a $25,000 piece of equipment in 1990, and this is one of the original Faruja line doublers. This is $25,000 back then.
Back then.
So today it'd be like $50,000 or $60,000. I still have it. I don't know what to do with it. Nobody would want it. It's a museum piece. And this one was actually one of the U, which is both NTSC for the US and PAL for Europe. We're going to go this way. All right. So we'll go over here. This is Steve's office and showroom.
Hi again.
So this is the lineup of speakers from the biggest thing to the smallest thing. The biggest thing we make is, this is the Rixos XL, extra large. Right? This has truly 125 dB of capacity measured anechoically for pi. You put it on a wall, and at 125 it becomes about 129 or so, 120, almost 130, because we're getting the reinforcement from the wall. So this is 125, 120, 115, 110. So our strategy is, these are all identical speakers in terms of frequency and phase response, and we can adjust the phase response in the digital lamp. Electroacoustically, these are not the same frequency response or the phase response. But by the time you put them through the digital process in the amplifier, we tune it all to where you could use this speaker in the left and this speaker on the right, and you would have a stereo image out of it. Except that one plays 20 dB louder. So these have a very good 6.5-inch woofer from Fatal and this 1-inch dome tweeter from Audax. So the smaller speakers have smaller drivers, smaller power, lower efficiency, so you don't hear the hiss. It all matches the needed sound pressure level, and then we just go up from there. These three are the ceiling speakers that that the waveguide is pointed out in the opposite direction. So you put them up on the ceiling, and when you're sitting over there, you get the image of the top channels. You can also use them in an environment where you have a TV or a video wall, and you want to put 3 speakers there over the TV. Or if you have an environment where you've got a TV over here and no sidewalls.
And what about the white channels?
So at the other room, the white channels were these guys, right? In the smaller room right on the other side of that wall, this is what we're using for white channels.
Don't you plan to make some special speaker for that purpose?
What's special about the white channel?
Angled buffle?
By the time you can listen to it all the way over here, what's the point of angling it? In a few rooms we have done where the seats are past our 60-degree limit, we do angle them a little bit. But we don't have to angle them like everybody else does, because we're going all the way out very far. And we've gotten Dolby accreditation on several DCI rooms with the speakers flat on the wall. They're like, you can't do that. It's like, yes, you can. Look at the directivity, look at the polar patterns. It's like, well, whoa. Okay, never mind. On calibration, I will show you that at the seat positions over here, you're still in the direct field of the speaker or the flat speed. We have used these sometimes for a back channel, when the back row of seats is wrongly put all the way up against the back wall because the architect said we're putting chairs over there.
Yeah.
And we go, no, you shouldn't. Yes, we are. No, you're not. Yes, we are. Okay, you win. So now we have a couch or a row of seats all the way on the back wall. We put a pair of these upside down, pointing down towards that area, and it works. It's an acceptable compromise. So there's a newer version of this, but when it gets to the subwoofers, we have a big 21-inch subwoofer, which is what you heard at the front of the theater. We have an 18-inch subwoofer, which is what you heard in the four corners, right? And we know when we're using a combination of this is 15 to about 40, this is 40 to 80 or 90, wherever you're going to go. Then we have this guy over here that's dual 13.5-inch. Then we have a smaller version that's a single 13.5-inch.
Mm-hmm.
Difference between these two is it's just placed 5 or 6 dB louder. That's all. And then finally we have a small subwoofer, which we have one left over here, which is a 10-inch driver, a 25 centimeter woofer, long excursion, pretty low distortion, works pretty well. And at CD, I remember seeing the shallow version of that. Right? Yeah. This is called the Epsilon, and we also now have the Epsilon S, which is on its way back from CD. We have an array of speakers that are horizontal bars, so that standing on its vertically is really designed to be placed horizontally, either under a TV or over a TV. For smaller rooms, we may use that. This can also be used over a door. So this is not a center speaker. It's a horizontally arrayed speaker in which the dispersion is very carefully controlled so that there's no lobing issues. Right? You understand that, right?
Sure.
You put drivers on this plane, there's going to be interactions.
Yeah.
But we do things with the phase response and the crossover so that there's, if I played pink noise on this, you go back and forth, you don't hear any change.
I've seen a couple of videos with Tom Wilkinson about this.
Right, exactly. That's right. He has a set of these. So, small one, big one, and then on the other book, we have a version of this called the H3, where there's a left, center, and right all in one bar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then finally, you saw this at the show, which is this guy, which is made to go up in the ceiling in a house that has little, very small lighting, small size lighting. And that goes along with it so that you have lights, speaker, light, speaker.
And why is it aluminium?
It's a good question. There's two reasons. First reason is for fire code in many, certainly in commercial applications, you're not allowed in this country to put something that's made out of wood in the ceiling.
Who's that?
Because we're using all gypsum board that's not like concrete, right? Gypsum board can burn. There's a hole there. They don't want fire to go through and transmit from one level to the level above in commercial spaces, in office buildings and commercial multi-use buildings. Now, some cities in the US also require that. Not everywhere. Certainly in New York City and a few other big cities, anything that's behind the ceiling needs to be completely flame-proof. So that's why it's aluminium. Now, the other part is that by making it aluminium, we can reduce the wall size. So instead of the walls being 12 to 13 millimeter, we can go down smaller, reinforce it correctly, damp it, and given the same outside dimension, we gain a little bit in internal volume. That's probably less of an issue than it is to just have something that's fire code rated for everybody.
I don't think I've seen something like that from aluminium.
Yeah.
From somebody else.
I know. It's a challenge because aluminium wants to ring. So the internal part of all this is all damped with this special mastic, similar version of that damping material, but one that also includes layers of foam. It's multi-layered. And it doesn't ring. It doesn't have any of the bang that you would otherwise get if you didn't damp it internally. So I guess that's the array of speakers. We're also showing some acoustical materials that we sell in the United States. Let me walk you around. By the way, if you want a quad ESL speaker, I'll gladly give it to you. Let's go where we can.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard.
Wow. Can we show what's on the stand, or do we keep that secret? On the post. There's a thing I'm looking at here that nobody knows about.
Seems like we should.
Okay, well, you got to be careful about patent rights and stuff like that. So, anyway, this is where our chief engineer, my partner in this business, does all his R&D. And so there's an anechoic space over here, and the rest of it's electrical. So for this, I'm going to ask you to pause the camera.
Yeah.
Listening room, this is our small version, so that we can demonstrate to somebody who's just building a room that's 4 meters or 5 meters rather than 10 meters. It has an array of Rixos M speakers. Left is here, center's behind here, right is here. The wide channel speakers are over here. This is actually a Rixos S covered by Ella Fitzgerald. Can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
So this is a special fabric that's printed. It's essentially white grill cloth that we can print with dye sublimation, a special printing process. And there's the Rixos S speaker. The grill goes on here, magnetized. So that's the wide channel. That's the side channel. That's the back channel. And then finally, up on the ceiling, we have the Rixos W that's aiming down at the listening position. Reflective waveguide that I showed you over there, we have over set up over here.
And can you demonstrate that as well? Or you need
It was
different
just
screen?
reinstalled. If I tried to turn it on, I can try to turn it on. I'll be taking a risk because I haven't tuned it yet.
And what is it reflected from? Like the
It's,
main surface
it's-
behind the screen?
Nope, it's reflecting off a video wall. Let me show you a video wall. I'll come over this way. Welcome to a video wall.
Ah,
I just put that in
Just
front of the
put it in
screen
front.
and it becomes a video wall.
cool.
And then over here is my collection of latest technology. These are great. These spin at 78 revolutions per minute. They're fantastic. You should listen to them. This is a Frank Sinatra song. It's wonderful. It's mono. It comes out of one speaker. It's really clear. So this is more of our admin and engineering space. This is where we do all of our meetings. This is a part of my collection of old equipment.
You have your own museum.
My own museum. So let's see. This is a piece from the Berlin Wall. These are old Zeiss German cameras. These are an array of Japanese cameras. That I think is from Poland. Stuff from all over the world here. I usually ask people, what do you think this is? What is this?
I guess the microphone.
Mic?
It's a hair dryer.
Hair driver.
You don't need this, but it's a hair dryer.
What brand is it?
It's an electric dryer from Racine Universal Motors Company from Racine, Wisconsin. Why? Because I think it's funny. This is the old Akai tape recorder I grew up with. My dad bought this in the 60s. This is actually an album that my mom recorded. She was a singer. And this is a great little 45 RPM things for 4 songs. She's a great singer. This is an album of my dad's. Oh, this is interesting. A patent that my dad filed on tube amplification way back in the 50s. So he was an electrical engineer. And that's my dad's actual hat from the Second World War. He was in the Royal Air Force. This is my dad's great uncle, who was the Surgeon General of the Greek Army or the Greek Navy. It's very decorated. I ended up with all this because everybody else died. So, let me see if I can turn this on. Ray.
Are you playing in a band?
Not anymore, no. My wife plays or sings children's songs at local libraries. So it's a common thing in the United States that at the library, once a week, somebody comes in and tells stories, reads stories and sings children's songs. And at the local libraries, they want that in multiple languages now. County has said, we want kids to hear Russian, hear Italian, hear German. And my wife does all the Spanish language ones. So it's all children's songs that she grew up with. And I go along and I just play the guitar while she's singing along. And I'll turn the lights off.
Right now, you're listening to where cinematic audio has been. Because we are so used to hearing sound this way, we don't notice that it is merely a fraction of what its potential could be. But what if
We split it into the left and rights. We correct for the spectral error that happens instead of having a speaker over here that's hitting your two ears identically, it's coming this way. It changes the mid-frequency. And then we can adjust the balance of that. But I'm switching to, again, what's called Phantom Plus. No center speaker. Notice how clean it still is.
Right now, you're listening to where cinematic audio has been. Because we are so used to hearing sound this way, we don't notice that it is merely a fraction.
If I sit here and go get my guitar and strum it, it's not really going to sound like a little thing like this. It has about an apparent image like this. And the further back I go, the wider the apparent image is going to be. So when you have a voice mixed to hard center, it should actually sound like a normal person, not like a little point. You put a super directional speaker, line array with some directivity over there, and yes, it does end up being a sliver. It's not like a regular person talking. That's the interesting thing, right? So this is a sort of a new thinking, is what is known in psychoacoustics as the apparent image width. Understanding that there's a screen, a hard screen over here where you can't put a speaker behind, we have an option of phantom left and right or phantom top and bottom, both of which use different signal processing to get to a point where it's still believable. That's the whole point, is can you sit here and watch a movie and feel like the people are talking here? Now I'm going to go one more step, which is what happens if you cannot put a center speaker in any of the traditional positions.
Right now, you're listening to where cinematic audio has been. Because we are so used to hearing sound this way, we don't notice that it is merely a fraction of what its potential
Where do
could
you
be.
hear that? Top of
But
the
what
screen,
if
right?
sound could be extraordinary?
So
Again,
I'm going to have you get up and come and listen to where it is. It's actually down low.
what if sound could be?
So we're tricking you. We're fooling you into believing that it's here when it's really all the way up there. And how do we do that? It's a bunch of tricks in signal processing and acoustics to make you believe that the image is lower. By the same token, I was playing those two speakers, but if I play this one alone, it sounds like it's here, using some of those same tricks that are in the signal processing. Your sense of elevation is based on a lot of different things, including the pin cues, and there's things you can simulate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another option. If the designer, the owner, whoever it is says, nope, we're just going to have a big screen, you have no room anywhere, make it work, which happens. Then we go, okay, well, we have a solution for putting it up on the ceiling that won't completely suck. You take somebody else's speaker and it's going to sound like it's up there. This one sounds like it's a little lower. Well, when you're far away enough, you can have enough holes, but when you're this close, the perforation, if it's any more, if it's any more than about a minute of arc, 1/60th of a degree, which is your perception of vision, right? You know that a person with 20/20
Micro LEDs would be much harder.
right, and just the sizes get so small that it's very hard to punch through that. Maybe somebody will figure it out eventually. Right now, I don't know how to do it other than bouncing the sound off there or doing these other options. Well, it's happening quite a bit now here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you saw walking around CEDIA, you saw all the different companies. Of course, the traditional ones, you've got Barco, Sony, Samsung, etc. Those are all showing their video walls. But then there's a lot of other companies, including AWAL, Just Video Walls, a bunch of other kind of less known brands that are going to go get materials from vendors around Asia and putting together their systems. And the prices are not cheap, but also not stratospheric anymore. So our view on it is we're gonna not sit and kick and scream and go, no, I don't want to do it. No, we've been looking for solutions, and we've done quite a few installations with one or the other of these approaches. We're gonna hang it up and over the clip. Here's our video wall. Nice, huh?
Right now, you're listening to where cinematic audio has been. Because we are so used to hearing sound this way, we don't notice that it is merely a fraction of what its potential could be.
So it's too bright because I haven't tuned it, but you hear how it's coming off the screen.
Yes,
It's believably coming from the screen.
believably. But with some extra reflections from some.
Yep, you hear a little bit of something else going on. That's right. So these are all, this is the world of compromises. So everybody else is compromising by doing these other things that every time I listen to them, they actually sound absolutely horrible. Not just like, well, it's a little different. No, they're just completely wrong. Everything is wrong. These versions compared to their original reference are, none of them are as perfect, but they're all acceptable for people to go, yeah, I can watch a movie with this. So either Phantom Center here, Phantom Center this way, or just a speaker at the top or the bottom that I didn't play you. A speaker all the way up in the ceiling that would normally be hidden and flush to the ceiling, or this reflection thing where there's no speakers there anywhere. It's all bouncing from there. So that's the range of it. I'll eventually tune the spectral response of this so that it all matches everything and it won't sound quite so shouty as it does now. But the main thing is it sounds like it's coming from the screen. And Anton, whether we like it or not, this is the way of the future.
Oh yeah.
Right?
So guys, that's been it. If you have some questions, please write them down in the comments section below. Press subscribe button if you are not subscribed to the Blackroom channel. And of course, hit the like button. I'm pretty sure this content was very unique and interesting. See you in the next videos. Bye bye.